What sort of skill set does someone need to earn $65,000 an hour? Well, according to court filings by the law firm Cohen, Debates, Abrams, and Shepard LLP, all they had to do was attach themselves to the largest copyright lawsuit in history and collect one of the most exorbitant paychecks ever written. Now, I'm making this video specifically for the almost 6 million authors who had their work stolen by the AI firm Anthropic, which is the company behind Claude AI. But honestly, this topic should concern absolutely everyone who cares about human creativity, because Anthropic isn't only putting every writer out of business, from small fish like me all the way up to Stephen King, but the legal team supposedly representing the millions of writers in this class action lawsuit have been lambasted by the judge for padding their wallets with absolutely ridiculous fees. I mean, look at this. The judge in the case was aghast when he showed that the Cohen law firm wants $15 million for what amounts to just over a month of work. That's money that should be going to authors like me and maybe even you. The reason why this is so important is that authors who've had their works pilfered by Anthropic and ostensibly the legal teams representing them have just until January 15th to opt out of the $3,000 per book settlement that they have been offered and seek what I hope will be a much more lucrative deal themselves, up to $150,000 for every single book that was stolen, or preferably taking this case all the way to trial, where we can actually set a legal precedent on whether it's okay for AI companies to grift us into extinction. And that's why I have James Bartolemi on the show today. He's a lawyer for the Duncan firm, currently representing more than 36 authors like myself who are taking the fight right to Anthropic's doorstep. And he's going to tell you how you can get involved yourself. Thanks so much for being on the show today, James.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate being here and giving you an update on where we are in this litigation.
All right, so we have 2 weeks left. And there have been some big filings, with the judge who is just leaving the bench. He's being replaced by a new judge, I think tomorrow, from when we're recording this. Can you tell me what the lawyers are seeking in terms of how much they're going to get paid for their work that they've done on it?
So if you're going to compare what the authors are being offered of $3,000, some of the law firms that are representing the publishing industry, some of the trade groups, some of them are asking for $65,000 an hour, which, just let that sink in, compared to what the $3,000 that they're asking you to take if you accept the settlement.
That's bananas. So these firms that have worked, it was something like 231 hours, the amount of work they put in. A firm called Cohen, they put in 231 hours, and they're asking for every hour to get paid $65,000. Whereas when I write a book, it takes me several years of work to do. And I'm getting paid $3,000 out of this settlement. Does that ring as fair to anyone?
From one man's opinion, certainly not. I mean, the lawyers at the Cohen firm, they are phenomenal lawyers. They specialize in copyright, but I have yet to see any court ever in the United States, in any case, award $65,000 an hour. So I don't know that that's going to pass muster, but at least it should give you pause to think, why am I accepting the $3,000 if this is what they're asking for to be paid for their participation in this case?
And indeed, when, so Anthropic has sent out, the settlement that's been pending has sent out these letters to every author who might be in the settlement. And they say that you're going to get about $3,000 per book. Is that really what the check is that you're going to receive if you do the settlement?
Well, not necessarily. You have to also consider the fact that if you've got a publisher, you may have a contract that requires you to pay the publisher up to 50% of that. And then separately, what they've done is the lawyers have carved out a default setting for educational works where they're automatically giving the education publishers a 50% default, even if there's no contract that says that. So, behind the scenes, a lot of terms have been negotiated on behalf of authors, and don't even really have a seat at the table, at least in that respect. So opting out is one option, to say, no, I'm not going to take that.
Obviously, for the last several months, we've been working together because I, and you both agree that this suit is not going to stop or do any justice to the sorts of theft that Anthropic and honestly all of the AI firms are doing against the people who, creatively make this work. I mean, just to point this out again, the Anthropic is worth, just that company, Anthropic, is valued at more than the entire global publishing industry writ large in America. And this $1.5 billion suit sounds like a lot of money. $1.5 billion sounds like some serious cash. It is barely even a speed bump. It won't change their the way they work at all in the going forward. Is that right?
Well, I think the easiest thing to do is to maybe do a little bit of back of the napkin math. If you look at the $1.5 billion and if you look at the 6 million books that were actually illegally copied from these data sets, that only comes out to be a little more than $200 per book. Now, I don't know, what your thoughts are on this, but I don't know that that's actually a deterrent effect to stop or to slow down or to pause an AI company from doing this again. $200. This is a great deal for them.
And statutory damages for copyright theft, what do they actually go up to? Like, what's the maximum, and why is the value set where it is?
Well, that was something that Congress put together in the Copyright Act. It's $150,000 per book, and that's exactly what someone who's opting out, can seek in lieu of taking the $3,000 settlement.
Or the $200 each that book was, that their Anthropic is actually spending on this. So to get this straight, the Congress set an old law. Copyright law is pretty old, 70s, I believe, right? The Congress said, in order to stop people from stealing works willfully, intentionally stealing copyright works, we're going to set the damages at a punitive level, at a deterrent level, to say, no, you really shouldn't do this. It's $150,000 per work. But what Anthropic is getting off with this settlement is actually paying less. And just to confirm, and just so all the readers who might be not great at math, $200 is in fact less than $150,000. Is that right?
It's quite a bit less. I mean, the settlement only accounts for about 468,000 books, and that's where they get the $3,000 mark. But the fact is that if you really do the actual math, it's a little more than $200, which isn't very much.
Okay, so here's the thing. I want authors to go up and stand up and fight. And we have been, it's been amazing because since the word started getting out about these videos, people have been coming out of the woodwork. Authors have seen the video and they've told other authors. And now there's this snowball effect going out into the world where all of these people are coming in to opt out of this settlement. And can you tell me what opting out means and why people should consider doing this and how much time they have left?
So let's work our way backwards. January 15th is the deadline. So if you're watching this video in the next week or 10 days, you've got to send an email to the Anthropic class administrator telling them, here are the names of my books. I want to opt out. An opt out simply means it gives you the right, per the settlement agreement, to go file an individual case and seek up to the maximum statutory damages of $150,000 per book. It's as simple as that. And there are law firms such as mine, the Duncan firm, and a number of others that are going to be joining to work with me on this. They're going to be filing these cases and trying to get a jury to actually set some law here, as opposed to a settlement agreement, which has no precedential value.
I'm working with you. We're working on a contingency. Are you going to be paid like roughly $65,000 an hour for doing this work?
No. And nobody on my team of lawyers will get anywhere close to that. I mean, we're doing this on a 1/3 contingency, which is pretty standard for contingency fee arrangements, and we're advancing all the costs, so none of the authors have to come out of pocket. But absolutely not. We're going to be a fraction of that.
Okay, so action points for you authors out there. In order to sign up for us and in order to opt out, even if you already have opt out, and that's critical. You've gotten these letters. Maybe you've gone to the Anthropic form. If you go in there and say, actually, never mind, I don't want to be part of the case, you still have time to do that until the 15th. Is that right?
That's correct. And in fact, even if you've already made a claim and now you want to maybe reconsider accepting the settlement money, you can still have the opportunity to opt out. You just have to do it before January 15th.
You've been taking a lot of calls with people. I'm expecting sort of a flood of other authors getting involved. How would they get in touch with you to be part of this case? Or, honestly, you don't need to go with James, guys. You can go with, there's like 3 or 4 other firms out there. You could hire your own lawyer. Go for it if you want to. But if you want to opt out and you want to work with James, how would we get in touch with you?
So you can email me at james@duncanfirm.com, or we're going to provide you a link to my firm's website, which will give you all the information about opting out. One thing I will say is that opting out is a personal choice. Opting out means that you are not going to be accepting the $3,000 and that you could actually get nothing or lose, which that's the risk that you take. But dozens of authors have already opted out. My firm represents more than 3 dozen authors at this point, and growing every day. So get in touch with us, and we'll schedule a call, and we will treat you like like the individual client that you ought to be treated.
All right. Well, thank you so much, James, for the work you're doing. And I'm just keeping this short because authors don't have a lot of time to waste. Right now, you only have 10 more days, 15 more days until January 15th to opt out. And I think that just the last point here is you can still change your mind and opt back in if you opt out by the 15th. There's a little bit of confusion in how this works, right? You actually have to until I think March sometime to make your final decision. But to even give yourself that extension, you have to opt out right now.
Yeah, that's correct. There's 3 real critical deadlines coming up. January 15th is the opt-out date. If you want to change your mind, or you want to have a little bit more time to think about whether pursuing the individual case, you can re-include yourself by March 9th. And then March 30th is the final date to actually submit a claim. So you're not going to get paid for anything, most likely, unless you affirmatively submit a claim with the claims administrator. So those are the 3 most important dates you got to keep in mind right now.
All right. So there will be links to the opt-out location page. It's like anthropiclawsuit.com or something like that. The emails, it'll all be down there in the description, as well as an email to the Duncan firm. You can CC me. I'm at scott@foxtopus.ink. And I appreciate all of you for being here. And let's take this fight right to the court, because, personally, I'm in $15,000. That's how much I can get right now from the Anthropic settlement. And I am willing to turn that down for the chance of up to $150,000. I mean, I guess if we get that full amount, a third will be going to you. But I believe $100,000 is still more than $3,000, or none if we fail. But we're not going to fail. We're going to win. We're going to win.
We're on the right. Listen, I want to be on the right side of history, and I know Scott does as well. So that's the reason why we're doing this too. Is that a principle?
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and let's take the fight right to them.